The story you're about to hear is nothing short of spectacular, not being covered anywhere else but here. If you were a member of our RestrictedRepublic.com family, you would have heard this story, at least a portion of it, until the unusual connection unfolds over the last 24 to 48 hours. Article published by the New York Times stated, and it is relative to this story in more ways than most can imagine. At the time, the future head of Ukraine's military intelligence agency, General Budanov, was a rising star in Unit 2245. General Budanov is who takes center stage in this story. He was known for daring operations behind enemy lines and had deep ties to the CIA. They even rehabilitated him at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Maryland, but that's just where this story begins. General Budanov there, as you see, now appears to have links, at least according to the alleged plot to assassinate Tucker Carlson. I hope you heard this story. Not proven yet. Tucker Carlson assassination attempted in Russia, it is now being alleged. They also allegedly have the perpetrator, and it is in his statement that something that will now keep the CIA awake at night occurred. In November of 2023, I was recruited by the main directorate of intelligence of the Ministry of Defense to go ahead and go forward with the alleged plot, failed plot, to assassinate Tucker Carlson. The main directorate of intelligence run by General Budanov, trained by the CIA. That is the story we're going to cover for you here today. All right, my friends, welcome back to the broadcast. Do me a huge favor. If you haven't subscribed to Lisa's channel yet, what are you waiting for? Click below. If you think you're subscribed, double check. If you haven't subscribed to mine, she'll put a link above. Please click on it. You never know where either of us will be broadcasting. Lisa's working on a huge story right now. It will be at RestrictedRepublic.com later today. This story would normally have been there, but she asked me to bring it to you. She's trying to demonstrate all the effort, work, and diligence we put into that platform to bring you stories that can't be brought to you anywhere else. And soon they won't be brought to you anywhere else because they're simply not going to allow it. If you think otherwise, then you haven't been following us very long. Today, very special offer. Use discount code RR39 at annual checkout. $39 a year for 3 years plus 14 days for free. A very limited offer, a very special offer. Lisa needs you there today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, today by using RR39 in annual checkout. That's $39 a year for 3 years. That rate to have both of us with all the exclusive content, live chat where you can talk with either one of us. We sit here in front of the camera to answer your questions. That's what you get at RestrictedRepublic.com. Get there today, but now let's get on with this story. Okay, we're going to start here and work very quickly up to the alleged assassination plot on Tucker Carlson. The much longer story, again, exclusively only at Restricted Republic, will give you all the details of this New York Times story, which now directly points fingers where the CIA doesn't want them pointed. How were they going to clear the path for this one? I don't know, and you'll understand why in just a few seconds. The spy war, how the CIA secretly helped Ukraine fight Putin. The article starts. The partnership being no wartime creation, nor is Ukraine the only beneficiary. It transpired over allegedly 3 presidents. It has transformed Ukraine, whose intelligence agencies, one of those intelligence agencies being the main directorate of intelligence, run by General Budanov, just trying to tie this in as quickly as we can, turned it into one of Washington's most important intelligence partners against the Kremlin today. Not yesterday. This isn't an old story. This is still going on today. Oh, it gets much deeper. The listening post in Ukraine's force is part of a CIA-supported network of spy bases constructed in the past 8 years. That includes 12 secret locations along the Russian border, partially funded and run by the CIA. How did this all come to fruition? Well, initially, They didn't really trust the Ukrainians. But then Malaysian airline flight 17 goes down. Ukraine provides the U.S. intelligence that Russia did it, and the relationship starts off. Of course it does. Around 2016, the CIA began training an elite Ukrainian commando force known as Unit 2245. And who was one of the premier members of Unit 2245? One officer in the unit was General Budanov, now the general leading Ukraine's military intelligence today. The relationship is so ingrained that the CIA officers remained at remote locations in western Ukraine when the Biden administration evacuated U.S. personnel in the weeks before Russia invaded in February of 2022. It would be terribly embarrassing to the CIA if one of these folks that they trained out in Ukraine had something to do with an alleged plot involving an American citizen, now wouldn't it? General Budanov, to be more specific, Chief of the Main Directorate of Intelligence. I'm going to keep saying that over and over. There's a reason. Now these intelligence networks are more important than ever. As Russia is on the offensive and Ukraine is more dependent on sabotage and long-range missile strikes than it requires spies far behind enemy lines, which means they would be in Russia. The article states they're in Russia. They should know everything that's happening in Russia, and they're reporting back to Ukraine. If Republicans in Congress end military funding to Kyiv, the CIA may have to scale back, however. To reassure Ukrainian leaders, William J. Burns, the CIA director, made a secret visit to Ukraine just last Thursday. His 10th visit since the invasion. The CIA and Ukrainian intelligence have been working hand in hand in this war between Ukraine and Russia. The New York Times broke all of this. Story we went into even deeper detail, longer story, and you're going to need the background of this. The result was a delicate balancing act. The CIA was supposed to strengthen Ukrainian intelligence service without provoking the Russians. This was under the Obama administration. The red lines were never precisely clear, which created a persistent tension in the partnership. However, we had General Kontrachuk and also now General Budanov, which we're going to get to, because they created and the CIA helped to create and MI6 helped to create what is called the 5th Directorate. This unit would be filled with officers born after Ukraine gained independence to assure they had no Russian allegiance. The flight crashes, Malaysian Air Flight 17. The relationship solidifies. The CIA is impressed. And so they start providing a meaningful commitment by providing secure communications right here, secure communications gear, and specialized training to members of the 5th Directorate and 2 other elite units. Operation Goldfish, this was called. With money and equipment provided by the CIA, they worked at night to avoid Russian spy detection. In the bunker, one of the generals points to communication equipment and large computer servers, some of which were financed by the CIA. He said his teams were using the base to hack into Russian military secure communication networks, so we should know everything that's happening in Russia. The CIA began sending equipment in 2016 after the pivotal meeting at Scattergood, providing encrypted radio and devices for intercepting secret enemy communications. Beyond the base, the CIA also oversaw a training program carried out in 2 European cities to teach Ukrainian intelligence officers how to convincingly assume fake personas and steal secrets in Russia and other countries, and adept at rooting out spies. The program was called Operation Goldfish, which derived from a joke about a Russian-speaking goldfish who offered 2 Estonians wishes in exchange for its freedom. The Operation Goldfish officers were soon deployed in 12 newly built forward operating bases constructed along the Russian border. You got that, right? Now, the relationship wasn't always smooth. When General Kondratyuk didn't like how he couldn't move forward without U.S.'s help, sometimes he just did it on his own, or learned that if he didn't ask for permission but rather begged for forgiveness, sometimes all was forgiven. This time, he didn't ask the CIA for permission. He turned Unit 2245, the commando force that received the specialized military training from the CIA. Remember, this is who trained General Budanov again. So he turned Unit 2245. General Budanov, a member of Unit 2245, trained by the CIA training from the CIA's elite paramilitary group. And this is the key. At the time, the future head of Ukraine's military intelligence agency, General Budanov, was a rising star in Unit 2245. He was known for daring operations behind enemy lines and had deep ties to the CIA. The agency had trained him and also taken the extraordinary step. So entrenched was he with the CIA that they send him for rehabilitation back to America to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center after he was shot in the right arm during fighting in Donbass. Wow. Most would look at that and almost call that a CIA asset. I don't know how much further entrenched you can be. This is the same gentleman who just days ago said Navalny's death, well, it wasn't Russia. I hate to disappoint you, he stated. I may disappoint you, but what we know is that he actually died from a blood clot. So break that down. Someone who's trained by the CIA, obviously to get intelligence on Russia, is now claiming Russia didn't kill their number one enemy, Navalny, that he died of a blood clot. Something doesn't add up here, but then things go from strange to worse. Is General Budanov, head of Ukraine's defense intelligence. Remember that. And how it all circles back. And how the CIA must be awake all night long. Because one of their assets may have done something really bad. Tucker Carlson assassination attempted in Russia. A new report claims that a native Russian has been arrested for attempted assassination of Tucker Carlson, a former Fox News host who traveled to Moscow earlier this month to interview Russian President Vladimir Putin. The interview heard round the world. The report also claimed that Ukraine's main directorate of intelligence, oh no, I'm sure someone in CIA headquarters blew an absolute gasket now, didn't they? Offered to pay the man $4,000. Headed by General Budanov, trained by the CIA, rehabilitated at Walter Reed in the United States. But it goes on, because what the man claims in an interview, the Russian anti-terrorist unit prevented the assassination of an American journalist, Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson, planned by the main directorate of the Ukraine Intelligence Service. Wow. Either Putin's got even better at providing misinformation, or we, folks, have a problem. I don't know exactly how you work to diffuse this situation. This is a catastrophe. Breaking: attempted assassination of Tucker Carlson. A man has just been arrested in Moscow, accused of being paid by Ukrainian intelligence to plant an explosive device on Tucker Carlson's vehicle and assassinate the prominent American journalist while he was there to interview Putin. Boy, remember what Tucker said? I'm going to get there in just a second. All resonates back now, doesn't it? In November of 2023, the main directorate of intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine via internet recruited the man on your screen. That's his statement. I was trained in working with special communications, collecting and detonating explosive devices, he states. On January 31st, I received a task from the curator to pick up an explosive device from a hiding place and use it to blow up a car. I was paid $4,000 to do so. In the underground parking of the Four Seasons Hotel in Moscow, I was supposed to pick up the explosive device from a hiding place and place it under the car. Do you know who the target was? Originally, he states no. Then they ask again, do you know who the target is now? And his answer?
Против кого планировалось применить взрывное устройство?
Ну, не сообщили.
Сейчас вы знаете, кто был целью?
Да, американский журналист Такер Карлсон.
Wow, nicely wrapped with a bow now, wasn't it? The problem was, he stated he was recruited by the main directorate of intelligence, of which our CIA helped to fund and train. Our U.S. government has another major issue to deal with. Was this handed to the mainstream media by Russia? Can't wait to see your comments below. The explosive device, the phone used, the parking garage, Tucker Carlson, all the evidence. Remembering Tucker Carlson and his lawyer warned Biden administration would arrest him if he gave Putin a softball interview. Tucker Carlson alleges Biden administration spied on him to stop Putin interview. White House refutes it as ridiculous. Tucker Carlson says U.S. government stopped him from interviewing Putin. Well, it appears someone else attempted to intercede. The person that is being alleged to attempted to intercede is the Ukrainian main directorate, the intelligence force, trained and brought to you by, according to the New York Times, the CIA. A larger story we could not bring you. In actuality, we brought it to you days ago. And if you're a restricted republic, you're well ahead of the curve, as you always are. If you're not, you need to get there today. Join us. We love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.